Hey everyone, and welcome to your Photoshop Creative Challenge. My name is Wade Acuff. I'll be your host today. In the description below, you'll find a link to several things. You'll find a link to more challenges. You'll find a link to our Discord, where if you want to get feedback for your challenges, that's the place to be. You'll find a link to a starter file. You will also find a link, more importantly for this week, a share for review file. And I talked a little bit about it yesterday in the repeat pattern stream, but you can take a look to get caught up a little bit more, but let's look at it. This is our Smacks Lifestyle review. It's a brochure. It's a brochure pitch material, but I need your help, chat. Chat, I need your help. We need more comments. We already have some really good comments over here, a good long list. But the more the better. We have to make this really, really sing, because on Friday, we're going to take these comments and we're going to, make some live changes. You can make comments up here, but let's get those in before Friday, hopefully, so that we can address these. You know what? I believe with the power of teamwork, we can make this really special. Or we can just have fun with it, because I think that's what's going to happen. But get your comments in. It'll be open all week until Friday. And let's jump into today's Photoshop challenge. That's right, the more the merrier. What's up, everybody? How's it going? All right, so we've got Glitch-n-Gif, and this is going to be create an animated GIF, glitch effects, and output as an animated GIF. I don't really care if you output this as a GIF. I just thought Glitch-n-Gif sounded fun. So we're gonna show you though how to make a GIF out of this. First, I'm just gonna go ahead and trash all of this. And then in my libraries, I found what I think is a pretty cool photo over on stock.adobe.com/free. And I'm just gonna scale this up with Control-T, Control or Command-T, holding down Shift. I'm just gonna bring this up to the edges and place this somewhere in there. And you'll notice it does bring it in as a smart object, but I don't want to use it as a smart object. I'm going to trash our background as well, and then I'm going to rasterize this layer, because I want to punch this up with levels just a little bit. Control L, and I am being destructive. I'm intentionally, this one, of all of the challenges, this one we can be a little bit loose and destructive on, because I'm just looking for effects here. You don't have to be as destructive as this. If it really gets under your skin, that's fine. But I'm just showing you how to do this as quickly as possible. I'm going to make two copies, and we're going to use the channels, the red and blue channels on this, and I'll show you how to get to those. I'm going to name this bottom one red, and the top one blue. And I'm going to use the layer styles and the blending options to just turn off our green and blue channels for our red channel, and then double click into our layer styles again for blending options and turning off the red and green so that we have our blue channels. Now, you didn't see anything change. There are no changes here. But if I grab my move tool and slide this over, you start to see, and in fact, you can simulate the animation we're going to do. This is sort of what we're going to do for glitching. But I don't want to stop there. The same thing works with the blue, by the way. You can move that around. But I don't want to stop there. I want to go ahead and show you another way to get some more glitchiness. There are tons of ways to do this, by the way. These are just a few examples I can show you quickly so that we have time left on the stream to animate. So in making a copy, I'm going to call this red block, and it'll make sense in a minute. I'm going to bump into our channels and then select the red channel. It'll go, the image will go black and white, and because it's just showing that one red channel. And then over in filter, we're going to go to distort and go to wave, and it probably will load in as sine type. And this could be cool. Don't slack on this. This could be cool to make something really funky and wavy. That would work too as a glitch, but I'm going to leave this pretty blocky. So I'm going to bump down to square. And you can mess around with the scales and amplitudes, but I want to leave this just essentially, if we move all this back to 0, that's going to be our original image. But I do want to just make this a little bit more exaggerated, because the more exaggerated it's going to be, the more it's probably going to look like a glitch. So click OK, go back to the RGB. Now, when you click back into your channel, you have this really kind of distorted red channel popping out with that wave effect. I'm not going to use it like this directly. I'm going to make little layers and slices of this. Let's see. Oh yeah, so this is how I want to do this. I want to take that red block and in with our marquee tool, a little rectangular marquee tool, I'm going to start making slices of this. This is going to sort of simulate like an old VHS when the screen would roll down through the scan lines and some things would pop in and pop out. And if you start from the top, just make, you know, something that looks interesting. I like how this kind of sign juts out like that right here. I'm going to press Control or Command J, and it will make that copy for me. If I turn all these off, you'll see that's a copy of that. And then select your red block again, and I'm going to make like 4 or 5 of these. And I'm just going to come down again, Control or Command J, selecting these. I want to get a middle chunk here, kind of big. You can even like mix this up. Like let's say I want to add a little slice towards the top of that one. I just pressed Alt to deselect that area. And again, make a copy of that. Come down here. And let's go a little bit lower. Control Command J, and now we have like 4 copies of that. And let's do one more. You know what? I think we're good. We'll start there. All right, so we're starting to get something. I'm going to turn this off. You're going to start to see sort of where our glitches are. So what's going to happen with this is we can animate these moving out, and that's really going to start to give us that glitchy effect. But I want to add a layer over the top to just give us a little bit more boost into our kind of grungy graininess. So with a new layer, I'm going to call this scanlines, because we're going to make scanlines. Shift F5, fill it with gray. And then over in our filter gallery, we're going to go to filter gallery. And if it's not already on halftone, select halftone. Now our canvas is 2000 by 2000, 300 DPI. If yours is larger, you may want to adjust the size, or smaller, depending on where you want it. 2 works for us. You can also adjust the contrast if you'd like, because we're going to use this with a blend. I think it's going to be an overlay. I don't know. We'll check it out in a minute. I'm going to click OK, and that's just going to make our scan lines for us. And I believe, yes, overlay is what we're going with. Now, let me jump in here. I'm going to show you. I'm trying to get a moire pattern. I'm trying to make the screen jitter. So what we're having to do is we're going to animate these scan lines up and down. And it's going to look harsh, but that's kind of the point with this one. That is really, you know, making it really grungy. Now I think we're ready to start animating. So we're going to need a timeline. Come over to Window, Timeline, Create Video Timeline. The first thing I want to do is change my frame rate to 12 frames a second, because we don't have time to animate all of the frames we would have if we didn't do that. And so let's see. So I want to turn everything off first, because I just want to animate the red and green, red and blue channels first. I'll even turn off the scan lines. So down here with the red channel, I'm going to, you saw me adjust my workspace. I just moved this down to 3 seconds. This is the playhead, which is just where you start from your playback. And also how you will be able to see the layers. This will make sense in a second. And I'm just going to trim this by grabbing this on the edge. And I'm going to pull this out. And let's trim it down a little bit. That's 1 frame. Let's go 2 frames. And I'm going to pull it back a little bit. All right, so now we are going to move. We are going to animate the position, and you add a keyframe by clicking this little stopwatch, and we have a keyframe, but nothing is moved. And I'm just selecting the move tool, and I'm going to bump this over with the arrow key. I'm just moving to the left. And you can do it as much as you'd like, but I'm going to put 2 keyframes on this. And once you've made 1 keyframe, all you have to do is make an adjustment to the position of the layer, and it will add the other keyframe for you. So that's what we're going to do. So now we've made our first little jitter. Look at that. Brilliant, right? Now we just have to do that a lot more times. So one thing that I wanted to show you is if you put an animation on a layer like this, and you copy that, I'm just holding down Alt and dragging up. You copy that layer, it makes a new layer, and then you can drag this out, but it retains the animation. So now if you like what you had there, you'll have it again at another location. I want to kind of just one-up this a little bit. I want to bump this even further out just to make it a little more extreme. And then maybe even add another frame where we come back the other way. And let's take a look at what that looks like. There's really no wrong answers to this. It just depends on your subject and what you're doing. Right now, we just have a street scene and it's all good. So I'm gonna make a couple more copies of this. And if you don't want all of that animation, you can just grab it and delete it. I'm just gonna add one, let's see, I'm gonna bring this down to 1 frame, and it is already slightly adjusted. I like that, that's fine. Let's make another copy. And drag this out. And so you know what? Maybe I want let's get the one that's already animated, and I'm going to drag it above and drag it down. So now it's already animated for us. And let's see what our red glitching looks like. It's not bad. I don't think it's dramatic enough, personally. So maybe we'll add one more. Let's see, copy that, pull this out, toggle this down. And I'm really going to go way out here with this. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, okay. Works for me. So now we're going to move this up to the blue and do the same thing, but I'm not really going to adjust the blue. I'm just going to have some little bits of it pop out right as the red starts to either settle in. And all I'm going to do with that is I'm not even going to animate it because there's no actual movement. I'm just going to adjust the layer. So now when I make a copy of that layer is already adjusted, and I can just place it where I want. And then let's make another copy. I'm just kind of sprinkling this in there. And then I think that'll be good. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, nice and jittery. Sweet. Now we get up to the part that is actually more of the glitchiness. We've got a few of these. So we'll see why I put these on here in a row, because we can animate these as we move up. It'll make sense in a second. I'm going to go ahead and bring these down, trim all of these. It reminds me of the Westworld glitches. Okay, I can live with that. But let's go ahead and I'm going to zoom back in here just a little. Oh, too far. Other way. All right. And I'll do this real quick just so you can see what I was getting at with the rolling of these glitches going upwards. I'm just going to make a stack of these. And you can see how it kind of jumps up right there. So you could do something like that. You can have them, but let's move some of these. Let's move some of these around. So on this first one, I believe this is the bottom one, I am going to animate the position, add a keyframe, clicking the stopwatch, and I'm going to move this over a little bit at first and a lot of bit at second. And it should be so quick. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm not going to animate this one. I'm just going to, oops, make sure you can see it. You won't be able to see it if you're not placed on the frame, but I'm going to bump this out so we get that. And then same. Let's see. I'm gonna add animation to this one just by adding keyframe and then moving it a little bit. We can go the other direction too. Let's do that. Let's go the other direction. So now we get little changes in this. And that looks good. We can copy all of them if you want. Let's just select all of those, hold the Alt or Option, drag them up, and now we can move all of them down to another area. And now it's just going to kind of repeat that. And we have some nice glitch effect. Now we have to animate our scan lines because we don't want to leave these guys out. What I want to do first is jump out a little bit, press Control Command T for transform, and I'll move this up. Sorry, not move. I'm going to scale it up slightly because all we're going to be doing is animating the position of this up and down, and I'm going to animate on the 6s. Let me move this all the way out to 3 seconds. So every 6 frames, and I think I can make this. Yeah, there we go. Every 6 frames, I'm going to move it down 6. I'm just keeping this all very simple by adding a position. We don't want to. We can start from where it is already. Go 6 frames in, and then with the arrow keys, I'm just going to go down 6 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go to the next 6 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The next 6 frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Up. One last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now when we play this back, let's see. Oh yeah. Now we play this back. I'm going to jump in here just so you can see it moving around, and you'll see that there's a little bit of movement happening right there. So it's very glitchy, very kind of, and you could set this and make this a little more extreme. But we're not done just yet. To heighten some of these glitches, we can go back into our little slices that we made. And this step is really quick. Just copy these randomly if you want, or do all of them. It doesn't matter. I'm making a copy of that and coming over to our linear dodge. Make a copy of the next one. Linear dodge. And maybe we skip one. I don't know. You make the rules here. You make the rules. So we'll make a few more linear dodge, and then we'll take a look at what that looks like, because it just kind of brightens them up. It pushes them forward a little bit. So there you go. Yeah, I think it looks pretty nice too, Ryan. But let's push it even further. And you can do this too. I did not provide this element for you because I figure you guys are all designers. You can make up your own logos. I decided to add in a noodle shop logo called Dystopia Noodles. I don't know if that exists, but it does now. Oh, real important. If you bring anything in to your timeline, just like I did, I was just randomly on it 2 seconds and 4 frames in. That's where it's going to drop this. So let me undo that. If I pull this back, select, I pull our playhead back to 0, and then I want to drag this in. Bam. Now you have it starting on the first frame. I'm going to do this and then put that to center. I might scale this down just a little bit. Somewhere in there maybe. I did make a layer style for this that we went over layer style, so now you know how to make one of those. In our star cards challenge, all you have to do is double click your layers. Well, hello, wrong one. Double click your layer style. There you go. Jump back into here. Now, I would recommend if you do this, you can leave it like that if you want. That looks fine, sure. But you could also drag your scan line above, which I highly recommend, so that now it's affecting everything. So now we have a fun little GIF we can make. So let's see about making that GIF. Now, if you wanted to, like I was saying at the beginning, you don't have to make a GIF out of this if you want. You could just make this a video by going to render video. There it goes. And you could save it, do all the things you want to do. But you can also make this a GIF. Now, normally you would just bump in here and hit this convert to frames, and it makes this all frames. And I want to show you this so that you don't make a mistake and think that you can go back without issue. If I go back, and I hope this works, because if not, we have an issue. If I go back to convert to video timeline, it undoes all of the moving of the length of the layers in the time frame. So be careful with that. I'm going to control, in fact, I'm going to go through my history first and go back to layer order. There we go. So that just bumped me back up in history to before I made keyframes. So now the frames are all back where they want, but you don't have to go to keyframes to make a GIF. You can just jump in here and go to File, Export, Save for Web, Legacy. It does take a minute to kind of pop up here. There are all sorts of options you can change. The default usually does pretty good, but if you want to reduce those, you can start, if you wanted to make it a little more grungy, you could reduce the color. There's a lot of things you could do to kind of make this a little bit grungier and smaller. But we have our GIF here we can play through. Let's go ahead and save it. You can see that I've done this a couple of times. Let's save, see what happens. Again, it's going to take a minute. That's another reason rendering would take a little bit longer for video. This is usually pretty fast, especially if it's a smaller size. So let's pull this up. This is the glitch effect we just made. And hopefully you can make one, you know, as you know, interesting or whatever. But if you choose one with a subject, like if you have this as a portrait or something, you may want to focus on what you want to distort. I did a street scene, so anything went. But if you have like a specific subject you're trying to distort and make it still be recognizable, just be aware of that. That is something that you know, that could really change how everything looks at the end if you're not paying attention to your subject. What else? Oh, I know what else. That's going to wrap it up for the glitch effect that we've made today. But I do want to mention before we go that I still need your help, chat. And I'm checking to see if anybody from chat went and made comments. Come on. Where are the comments? Where are the comments? Submit. So go to this share for review file that's in the description below. There's a link. And find something you don't like about this, or find something you do like about this, and let me know. And we'll review all of this on Friday and make changes live, and hopefully have a good time. Let me take a look at chat, see if there were any questions. When do you choose to save a GIF or a movie? If you want to be able to access the GIFs through social media platforms and introduce it that way, you could upload it to Giphy and then go and find it. I don't know if that's correct. You can upload them somewhere and then, you know, use them in your social medias if you'd like. It's really just up to you. I just wanted to give you the option if you wanted to. Sometimes that option is buried for people, so that was the reason I wanted to bring that up. But this is going to do it for today. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. There's more content, more live shows coming up next. I believe we have Tyler Pate again with the Illustrator Creative Challenge coming up, and that's going to do it for us. Thanks everybody. Hope to see you guys tomorrow. Bye.